All right, should we get started here? May get a couple more folks join in, but all right. So welcome to the March meeting of the Mid-Atlantic Amateur Radio Club. I'm Jeremy Carlo, N2ZLQ. So as we normally do, we'll go around and do some introductions. So anyone whose call ends in Alpha through Echo.
WA3ABI. My name is Vince. I'm located in Havertown, Pennsylvania, and been a MARC member for a long time.
And Donna Ferran. I live in Glenmore, and I've been a member just a couple of years.
But Foxtrot through November.
Alan, AB3FN.
Rich, KB3VZL.
Lou, WX3I.
Oscar through Sierra.
Dennis, K3DS.
And anybody else who hasn't checked in.
Finally, I got it all over. My name is Victor coming to Thanks,
Victor, you got a lot of background noise. Not sure what's going on there. All right, anybody else to check in?
Jim, W3JNF in Springfield, Delaware County.
Bob Zimmer, W3REZ.
We got just about everybody. Okay, so of course, because of COVID, all of our in-person events are canceled for now. So we are doing these monthly meetings by Zoom. We have our bi-weekly, or is that twice weekly nets on Wednesday and Sunday evenings. Hopefully we'll be able to start resuming some in-person events. And we'll be talking about that in just a couple of minutes. All right, so first up, Treasurer's Report. Lou.
Okay. As of today, we have $16,263 in the bank, and we have 71 paid members.
All right, thanks, Lou. So it looks like the members are getting back up there. So hopefully we're back up to, hopefully get a couple more by the end of the year. All right, so membership services. Jim, anything to report for this month?
Nothing to report. I've tried to talk to a few people to get some new members, but 71, we need to get up at least till the 80s and above if we can. So nothing new.
Okay, Jim. I don't know if you saw the report, but there was a new member that was logged in there. So
good.
New member.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to talk to the newer guys. They seem to be being drawn to the Marple Newtown because of their morning net, but I belong to several clubs, so can they.
All right, thanks. Technical services. Dennis, anything to report?
Well, other than 3.6 has been off the air for about 2 months now. We will be getting there shortly, I hope. I've gotten a lot of interest in trying to get that repeater back up. Everybody misses it and things like that. And we do have money in the bank, which is good because I do plan to spend it. My philosophy is spend the money now and then don't worry about it. So I would like to dupe, most probably dupe what we have on 1.3 and 06, which is a Kenwood 750 type repeater, crescendo amplifier, and get the whole thing up and running, no problem.
All right, thanks a lot. Dennis is doing a really great job with our repeaters, keeping everything up and running, but obviously because of COVID, it's very difficult to get out to the sites right now. All right, so that brings us to Field Day. So Jim, do you have anything to report for Field Day?
It looks like Field Day is going to come off. I just talked to Lou before the meeting, and he says the site's been approved. So we can certainly, spread out there and make it a little more low key than normal, as you said, Jeremy. But I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. And I hope a lot of other people are also.
So human beings and going places to do stuff. This is great. And Field Day is an outdoor event, so that's obviously something that works in our favor. We've got lots of space to spread out. All right, so let's see. Bob, you just joined us. Anything to report for public service?
Make sure I'm okay. I'm not muted here. Yeah, I was told I made contact with. Yeah, that's public service. Public service is pretty much everything is not going to happen for the spring season. I've reached out twice now to the Radnor Parade chairman. Haven't heard back from him yet. I don't know why, but it could be that things are still up in the air with that one. But the Penguin 5K is off. There was some mention that it might occur again in the fall, but I'm going to have to get with Ken Taylor, the contact person for that event, and see where that's going to go, because we really have enough events in the fall. We don't really need to do too many more, but we'll see how it goes. And as far as the MS is concerned, I still am going to try to get a verification phone call into them. I've pretty much decided that the information on their websites indicate that everything is virtual for them this year. All of the events were scheduled for the same day in this area. And not only, is that an impossibility for us to try to cover all of the events that we cover, it just looks all indications look like they're all virtual events, and they're not going to actually have a real event. And also, I unfortunately have neglected to contact one of the event contact people. He's actually a member, Dave. Oh dear, he's in my phone.
You're thinking of Dave Mitchell?
Mitchell, yes. I just reached out to him with a text, and so I expect to hear back soon from that. But I really don't think that they're going to have the event either, because they're dependent on the state parks, and I don't know what the condition of the state park is. The COVID condition, if they're going to allow large groups there or not, and I kind of don't think so. But I would be amazed if if they were going to have their event. Let's put it that way, because it's the event would be in May, and that's pretty much when all of the vaccines are going to be finishing up. So it's just very unlikely, I think. And did you get to Hamfest yet?
No, we haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay, well, I've got a no news report for that too.
Okay.
But anyway, let keep going on with your agenda there.
All right, thanks,
all I
Paul.
have.
Yeah, obviously, we would like to have our public service events back, but maybe in the fall, things will be looking a little better. But, for the spring, looks like not much is happening. So Bob has been reaching out to the Kimberton Fire Department regarding the Hamfest site. Unfortunately, the Hamfest is a little bit more difficult because it is going to be a lot larger crowds, and we're bringing in people who are not club members. And part of that is indoors at the Hamfest site there. And unfortunately, a lot of the decisions need to be made by the end of April in terms of getting it in QST and reserving the site. So that may be something we're going to have to decide fairly soon. And if we don't know what's going on, that makes it very difficult for us to plan with that. So that's basically where the Ham Fest is right now. So I think we will have a go or no go sometime in April, but unfortunately the information is not looking too promising right now. All right, so as far as nets, we are doing the nets twice a week. They're still running fairly well. We're averaging 10 to 15 check-ins each time. So if you are available on Wednesday or Sunday at 8:30, by all means, check into the nets. We do them on 147.06 and 145.13. So you've got quite a few great net control operators taking turns. If you are interested in being a net control station, you can reach out to me. It's really a fun thing to do. It's not that hard, and you do improve your operating skill if you want to learn how to handle traffic going back and forth. Very informal. It's just a discussion. What have you been up to? Usually a topic related to ham radio. So it's a fun thing to do, 8:30 p.m. on Wednesdays and Sundays. All right. Does anyone else have anything for the good of the organization?
Yeah, Jeremy, this is Lou. As you're well aware, at the board meeting, we talked about moving our email group emails to Google Groups, and I will be moving forward with that. I'll be putting all the members' emails into a Google group, and when I do that, you should be getting a message that says you've been added to the Google group. So just wanted to let people know that they'll be seeing that, and that it is a valid thing.
All right. Thanks, Lou.
You're welcome.
All right, for the good of the group, I would suggest that if you've paid your membership, you just go on our website and make sure your name is not grayed out. And if you are grayed out, please take care of it. I want to bring that up to date. And hopefully, with the news we got today, we can have a nice field day, regardless of how many units we set up. We can kick around a few ideas, and I think low-key wire antennas, as we discussed, is the way we're going to go. And well, anybody who can make it, please get out there and participate.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah, I think setting up the beam might be a little bit too much since, we don't know how many people are going to be around. And, setting up the beam means, one guy's got to hold the tower and the other one's got to push it up. So that might be a little too much for us to do, but wire antennas are pretty easy. Hoisted up the flagpole there. All right, so anything else? Any other reports? All right, so we'll move on to our featured program for the evening. Just a little preview of what's coming up. For the next 2 months, we have a double header. We'll have Barry Fearman, K3EY, and he'll be talking about the Nano VNA. So he'll be talking about a whole bunch of really cool stuff that you can do with that. So I think he's divided it into sort of a basic program for April and then some more advanced stuff for May. So I think that will be really interesting. Barry is a born teacher. I actually know him from a physics teachers organization that we both belong to. So I've actually known him from outside of radio. Kind of a funny story is that, we were at a teacher's meeting, and I go outside and I see all these antennas on his car, and he sees the antennas on my car, and we kind of put it together that we're both hams. All right, so this month, very pleased to welcome a special guest speaker who's joining us via the magic of Zoom. This is something that we probably wouldn't be able to do if not for COVID. Tonight we have Tim Duffy, K3LR. Tim is the CEO of DX Engineering, which is a little outfit you may have heard of. Maybe you bought some stuff from them. Tim gave a presentation to us last year about antennas, which was really great. You can check out the recording on YouTube if you haven't seen that. But tonight, Tim's going to be back telling us about his own home contest station. So looking really forward to this. So Tim, please take it away.
All right. Thanks very much, Jeremy. And good evening to everybody. You have a great club, very vibrant, and lots of things going on. And I'm also president of my local club. And we are struggling with the exact same things you guys are. So it's nice to know that we're not alone and that we're all trying to navigate this as best we can. But tonight we're going to talk about the place I live, and this has been a very interesting story. For the last 34 years, I've lived here, and I've created, I think, one of it's my dream come true. Every day when people ask me how I am, I say, well, I'm living the dream, and it's really true. To be CEO of one of the largest amateur radio companies in the world, and to have one of the largest ham stations in the world, I couldn't have dreamed a better outcome to my career and to my life. And certainly this is a real thrill to talk to all of you here this evening. So I'm going to share my screen and get into this. I need the host to allow screen sharing. Okay, I see a thumbs up from Jeremy. And so we should be able to, there we go. Okay, do you see my slides?
Yeah, we see them.
Okay, great. All right, so some of your members are out on the eastern edge of Pennsylvania. I'm at the very western part of Pennsylvania. And even though I've been licensed since 1972, we've only been doing this multi contesting since 1992 here. And multi means multiple operators and multiple transmitters. And so I'm going to tell you a little story about how this all occurred. This is just after I got my general license. And you notice the CW key beside my right hand there. CW really is my first language. It is, I started learning CW when I was 11, passed my novice when I was 12. By the time I was 14, I had the extra class license. And when I was 16, I got my first class commercial license. So I enjoyed going to the FCC federal building up in Buffalo, New York. And thankfully, my father was very tolerant in taking me there. And as he said years ago, he said, it looks like this radio stuff worked out pretty good for you. So I fell in love with QSL cards at first sight. And even today, when I get a QSL card in the mail, I instantly fill out a K3LR card and send it back to the station, because I know how good it feels to get a QSL card, almost 50 years now in this hobby. But this was the station in my boyhood bedroom, and many nights I was caught midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning when I was supposed to be sleeping, getting ready to go to school, on 40 CW or 80 CW talking to my buddies. And so here we are, Western Pennsylvania, right in between Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Erie, and also Akron, Ohio, about 65 miles to any one of those 4 cities. So it's a great place. We're rural, but I can get to 4 major cities in about an hour, maybe even an hour and a half. But so this is great. I grew up in Sharon, so currently living in West Middlesex, which is just a few miles south of Sharon. And for those of you who may have traveled on Interstate 80, my station and 13 Towers are very visible from I-80 and right there at the Ohio-Pennsylvania border. My neighbors think I'm with the CIA or the FBI, but I'm just a small country radio station broadcasting on 40 meters, 80 meters, and lots of 20 meters as well, and 160 meters, but very, very close to Ohio. And this is a topo presentation of the site. It drops off very quickly to Europe, into Japan, and the performance of this station is quite enhanced because of that drop-off, dropping off almost 300 feet in less than a mile. really makes a difference in the signal levels into Europe, where at least 75% of our QSOs in a DX contest are with Europe. Another 8 to 9% in Japan, and then a small number towards the Caribbean and towards Australia into the South Pacific, where it is flat, maybe going up a little bit, but the main area, Europe, is well taken care of, and we do very well in that direction. Taking a look overhead from the satellites, and there at the top of the photo is a 4-square on 10 meters and 20 meters that we use for receiving. And then coming down is the 160-meter 3-element vertical Yagi, and we'll talk more about that. It is a very nice array that is quite simple in its operation. And in the middle of the photo is 2 4-squares for 80 meters. You can see one square and then another square, and they're broadside on Europe. And it's just like stacking Yagis. You get 3 dB more by stacking these 4 squares. And we'll get into more of that here in a minute. And then at the bottom of the photo, it doesn't look that big, but that's a very large tower topping out at 275 feet, holding 138 square feet of wind load. In the middle is the 15-meter run stack. This is the main station on 15 meters, and there are 28 elements there, 4 7-element Yagis, and then on 10 meters for the run station, 32 elements. That's 4 8-element Yagis all stacked up, and then another large tower, the 245 feet, 20-meter tower. Taking a look at the 40-meter tower. This is with the run station. There are 11 stations here, and each one of them has their own antenna system. This is 4 over 4 over 4 on 40 meters, full-size OWA Yagis, and they are, it's phenomenal. It is the largest 40-meter antenna array in the world. Notice that the antennas that are mounted on the side of the tower are on ring rotators that allow them to rotate around the tower and in any azimuth for 360 degrees. And all of the guy wires here are Philly strand. So they're all non-conductive guy wires, don't need insulators in them. And there are also antennas on 20 meters and 10 meters on this tower. And the top of the mast is a 9-element 10-meter beam on a 60-foot boom we use on the second station on 10 meters. And sometimes that's the only antenna that can work the DX, especially during these low sunspots. And another view of the 40-meter tower. Just a beautiful antenna system, giving you a little idea of scale with the 40-meter tower. And looking down the 40-meter tower, at there's a pair of 10-meter Yagis down there for the second station on 10 meters as well. In the middle of this tower is a 2-element horizontal Waller flag antenna. It looks like a 4-element 15-meter Yagi, but it's actually 2 rectangle systems of fiberglass and wire. And this is the directional receive antenna for 160 meters on a ring rotator. And so sometimes this is the best antenna for 160-meter receiving. And it is quite novel and works very well. Looking up at the 40-meter tower, very busy with those ring rotators. And you can see the pie rod tower construction, very strong. These have solid legs, solid steel legs, and the face size is 24 inches. Looking at the 20-meter tower, there's an 80-meter dipole at 245 feet, and there are steps on the mast that allow us to get up to it, and in case we have to do any maintenance. And then at the top of the tower is a 6-element 20-meter Yagi on a 50-foot boom, and there are 3 more of these 20-meter Yagis below this antenna. So there are 4 6-element Yagis on the 20-meter tower. Coming down the tower, you can see 2 more of the 20-meter Yagis. And also in the middle of this tower are 2 2-element 40-meter Moxons that were designed by W6NL. And we use this on the second station on 40 meters. Taking a look up the 20-meter tower, again with the ring rotators and all the booms. And here's the 10-meter tower with 4 8-element Yagis on 50-foot booms at 135 feet at the top. Back in 2018, there was an accident here with involved a drunk driver, and it actually hit one of the guy anchors, and so we had to rebuild the 20-meter tower. The new tower is the bright painted tower in the back, and in the foreground is the old tower that was taken down, that was damaged due to the guy anchor being hit. And here's the 100-ton crane. And you know it's a big crane when they bring a crane to build the crane. And so this did the job and stacked the tower, ring rotators on. This is the tower top, and this is the DX Engineering 3-inch thrust bearing with all stainless steel bearings and races. And notice the strength of this 24-inch face tower from Pyrod, and all solid steel, very, very strong. Here's 2 out of the 4 6-element 20-meter Yagis. We had to replace all the antennas in 2018 along with the tower. And here's the top antenna going up with the crane's help, and going up to the top of the tower, and the tower crew installing the 6-element 20-meter Yagi. And then we actually were able to use FaceTime to look at the Rig Expert analyzer from up in the air with the tower crew to see the VSWR. And the big 40-meter Yagis, this is the driven element. In 2019, I actually replaced these with brand new aluminum from where else? DX Engineering. You can see the size of the insulating plate. Remember, these elements are up to 75 feet long, and they're very heavy, and they have to be built to handle all the winds. And we have had our share of winds this year, and these Yagis just look at that wind and keep on going. And so no problems at all. Very thick center insulator. The OWA Yagis are fed just like dipoles. So it's a split driven element, and you can see the 2 feed points here, one for the shield and one for the center conductor. Taking a look at the center of the 4-element OWA on 40 meters, you can see about a 30-inch sag in the elements, which is quite good for a 40-meter full-size Yagi. Notice that first director is very close. What that does is that drives the feed point impedance of this Yagi right to 50 ohms without any gamma matches or beta matches, and also extends the VSWR bandwidth. This antenna is 1.2 to 1 or better from 7.0 to 7.3. And here's the whole 40-meter Yagi, all 410 gracious pounds, and ready to go up. And we actually installed 3 new ones. And here's that 100-ton crane back for more, and did a very nice job with the 40-meter Yagi installation. And here's the 4-element. It doesn't look that big in this photo, but this antenna is huge. And all things looking good. We have 4 geochrons here in the shack at K3LR. This is the largest one. It's an 84-inch 4K Ultra HD TV. It's the best TV and the largest TV in the house. And it's dedicated to knowing where the sun is. And we know where sunrise and sunset is. And it is a spectacular view. Of course, we sell the Geochron digital atlas at DX Engineering, and then you supply your own TV. But what a tremendous value that is to have Geochrons in the shack. We use, you would think that this was for 2 meters or 70 centimeters, but we use 1 5/8 for 10 meters and 15 meters and even 160 meters here. And to keep the losses down less than 1 dB for the feed line loss from any one of the feed lines feeding the K3LR antennas. Let's talk about this 160 meter array. The center of the 160 meter array is a 120-foot tower. It's a Pyrod tower, and it is the driven element of this parasitic array. And around it are 4 T-wires. Each one of these T-wires is cut as a director. So they're resonant at about 1906 kilohertz. And then if you float all 4 of these wires, it's an omnidirectional pattern. If you ground the right-hand yellow element, it becomes a director. You ground it to a radio system. On the left-hand yellow element, we put a small inductor in series with that, and then ground the other end of the inductor. It becomes a reflector. And then the 2 blue elements are floated. And so they are out of the picture. So you have a reflector, the driven element, and a director. A 3-element parasitic vertical Yagi that has 5.4 dB of forward gain and 32 dB of front to back. And at the bottom of each T-wire is 120 radials. They are 130 feet long. And so this little box has relays in it, so the T-wire can be a director, a reflector, or it can float. This is the driven element, the Pyrod tower, sitting on a broadcast style ceramic insulator. You can see the 1 5/8 coming up. We used 1 5/8 on 160 because this is a long way away from the shack, about 1,800 feet of 1 5/8. There are 300 quarter wavelength radials underneath this driven element. It is a spectacular antenna on 160. These, the 8 towers that make up the 80-meter verticals, they all have 120 radials that are 70 feet long underneath them. And you can see the silver soldered system here with the ground ring and the center 4 towers and lots of strap. We recently replaced the high towers with all aluminum towers. And these actually are all welded together as well, so that there are no section joints. They're all welded, 60 feet a tower and then a stinger on top. And here we are adjusting the stingers and installing the towers. Beautiful universal tower from Michigan, and of course available at DX Engineering, but great vertical antennas used on 80 meters. And here is the DX Engineering insulator for the 80-meter verticals. And here's 4 of the towers in a 4 square. And the other 4 towers in the 4 square, separated 5/8 wavelength. And then all the VNA and Rig Expert equipment to make sure that we get everything tuned up right. Using the Comtech Systems feed box to feed the 4 squares and electrically rotate in 4 different directions. And the 20-meter 4 square, we use this on the 2nd station for receiving, gives us polarization diversity so that we can hear through the CQ station. Here's a 4 square of 15 meters, again, quarter wave elements. And for 80 and 160 meters, using the high Z 8 circle with 123-foot diagonal spacing. In the middle of these 23-foot verticals, 8 of them, is this control box. Inside are the hybrid controls from high Z and delay lines, and also the chokes to make sure that the feed lines stay dead cold. And here's my friend W3YQ. We met each other when we were 12 years old on 80 meters. He is my best friend, and we're still very, very close today. And I just learned yesterday that he closed on property that is 1 mile away from K3LR. So he'll be moving back into the area, and that'll be tremendous to spend the rest of our lives having fun with ham radio. And hooking up all the chokes and hooking up all the cables that it takes to make this exciting antenna system work on 160 and 80 meters. At the base of each one of these 23-foot verticals that are used in the receiving array is a little control box. Inside the box is a buffer amplifier from high Z, and also 2 chokes, 1 for the signal, 1 for the power. And here's all the high Z buffers that it takes. We have a 4 square receive array as well as an 8 circle receive array. Inside the choke box, 26 turns of small 75 ohm coax on a number 31 toroid. And this develops in a huge amount of common mode impedance, over 10,000 ohms, choking power to make sure the shields stay very cold. Here's the house at K3LR. It was built in 1865. And everything has been added to it: running water, electricity, gas, air conditioning, and a world-class amateur radio station. And here's our 50 kVA transformer from the Pennsylvania Power Company. If and we don't share this with any neighbors, it's solely powering K3LR in the 300 amp service we have here. And if that fails, we have a 50 kilowatt Kohler 8-cylinder Chevy engine that is our backup generator. It is on natural gas, and within 7 seconds of a power outage, we are on this Kohler generator. We've never had a contest with that when that happened, but we have obviously used this generator in between, and several field days we use the Kohler generator. Here's the shack at K3LR. I built this as an addition onto the house, and holds 11 operating positions. There are 2 on 10, 15, 20, 40, and 10 meters or 80 meters, and 1 on 160 meters. Taking a look, this is the 2 stations that we use on 80 meters. One is a CQing station. The other station searches and pounces for other CQing stations on the band at the same time. In the background is the 160 meter station. We have 2 cable entrances, one on the southeast and one on the northeast. You can see all the 1 5/8 and 7/8 coaxes coming in. Everything is color coded and cataloged, and I do have an extensive notebook. Before we poured the concrete floor here in the shack, which is in the basement, I drove 13 8-foot ground rods right underneath the operating positions. So our ground connection is very, very close, and right there where the AC receptacles are. This is CAD weld, which is on top of the ground rod, and then the number 2 tin solid ground bus that encompasses the entire station. Here are operators having fun. This is on 15 meters at K3LR during a CW contest, now a phone contest, and using the Bose QC15 headphones and the Heil boom mic. These 2 operators on 15 meters. Here's the 10-meter second station with the green heron rotor controllers. Each station has its own computer, radio, rotor controls, single band amplifiers, etc. And then we have W3YQ designed these switch boxes that we use to switch the antennas. This is for the 40 run. We talked about that 3-high stack that is the 4-element full size. And here are the heights of the antennas, and then the switch positions. In this case, the operator is feeding all 3 Yagis. So 1/3 of the power is going into each one of the Yagis, and they're probably all stacked up on Europe or another azimuth to get the maximum gain. But you can see that they can also choose the top 2 or the bottom 2 or the high-low. This is the 15 run box with the 4-high stack. And here's 15 meters on CW with N6 TV and N6 AN in a typical DX contest. The 2 operators have to work together because only one of these transmitters can be on the air at a time on 15 meters. And there is a lockout box that makes absolutely sure that's the case. The 15-meter run guys were only feeding the bottom 3 antennas, known as Bot 3. So they were feeding the one at 120, 80, and 40 feet. And they do have a heads-up display telling them the same information, which is attached to the Drake W4 watt meter. And some of these watt meters were 50 years old here, so we had to put new SO239s on. And this is the rotor controls for the big 40-meter stack, and size does matter. This is an incredible antenna system. I have recordings of how we sound over in Bangkok, Thailand, New Delhi, India, and it is a spectacular signal that comes from this system. For all the bands except for one of the stations, we're using my homebrew single band amplifiers that are 8877s, just a single 8877. We are very careful to run 1,500 watts output, no more, no less. And each one of these homebrew amplifiers has its own 4,000 volt power supply on the floor below it. And this is the 20-meter run position, very popular position for us, and a very strategic band in the DX contest. And here are the two stations side by side on 20 meters. The right-hand side is the run station. The left-hand operator is the multiplier station or the search and pounce station. Here's the two stations on 10 meters. And this is the 160 meter station. I operate 160 meters in the DX contest on CW, and John N2NC from New Jersey drives out and does the 160 meter SSB during the DX contest. And this is the some of the receiving controls on 160, the horizontal Waller flag controller in the middle, the DX Engineering noise canceling controller combiner on the bottom, and the DX Loop, which is a new product coming out very soon. Here's our Bose QC15 noise canceling headsets, very important. We use the ICOM IC7851 is our radio of choice here. Very ergonomics are great. The electrical performance is outstanding, and they are very reliable. I've never had one quit during a contest. Here's my friend Al N5UM from Oklahoma City. He comes up and operates 75 meters with me on SSB. Here's Al at 4:15 in the morning taking a power nap. And notice also the computer on the back of the monitor, which is a Intel NUC. These are the computers that we're using here, 4 inches by 4 inches by 1.5 inches thick, powered on 13.8 volts, has complete Windows, solid state hard drive, etc. And they are RFI noise free. Another shot of a NUC on the back of the monitor. To share those two 4-squares on 80 meters to go between the two stations, we have a custom designed 80 meter XL twin turbo +2 switch that allows seamless switching between the two stations. And we also have high power harmonic filters here to tear down the harmonics that are generated. You know, it's hard enough to make things work on field day with 100 watts. Imagine what it's like with 1,500 watts and close proximity Yagi antennas. So we use these harmonic filters. When the operators aren't operating, they are hanging out at the DX barn. And at the end of each contest, we light up the DX sign. Inside is a very comfortable resting place with multiple restrooms, shower, complete kitchen, and sleeping for 8. And also in the back of the sleeping area is over 100,000 QSL cards that I have collected over the years. And someday I hope to sort them. Our operators have a good time. This is Andy N2NT from New Jersey and John BE3EJ from Toronto, Ontario, operating in the CW contest, because you see the CW keys. And then 2 weeks later, it's the phone contest for the ARRL. And here's John K1AR operating with Andy again. And sometimes the operators have to take a little power nap. This is Dave KM3T, who is, this is the middle of the night, probably 3:30 in the morning on 20 meters. And we use the DX Engineering foot switch. These things never give us any trouble, very heavy duty. This is the lockout box for the run and mult station so that we can make sure that we don't have more than one transmitter on the air on a given band. And you can see this lets the second station know if the CQing station is operating. That little gray box, you see the light is out, now the light is on. That says his transmitter is going, so you will be locked out. And this is for the second stations, we control those 4 squares, and you can see the 4-square azimuth is now 315 degrees. BIP up there between 150 and 100 is both in phase, BOP is both out of phase. Happy operators, that's what it's all about. This is a hobby, we're having a good time. We're spending the weekend with our good friends. This is Otis NP4G. He's an orthodontist in Puerto Rico, comes up every March to operate with us, and he has a good time with George N3GJ. And on 80CW, it's Justin G4TSH from London, England, and my good friend Phil K3UA from Pittsburgh. And here's Justin and Phil on 80CW. And here is almost every one of the operating positions is manned in this photo. You can see the 20-meter guys on the right-hand side. 10 meters is next. Around you go to 15 and then 160. The 80-meter guys in the center table. And then 40 meters is W2RQ and N2NC on the left-hand side. And I have a very large interest in keeping youth involved in our hobby. This is Bryant, KG5HVO, and Violetta, KM4ATT. They were part of the WPX 2019 contest here at K3LR. They're operating on 20 meters. And this was an all-youth team, BE7DZO and K6JO on 40 meters. There were 6 youth operators here. They did all of the operating in that WPX contest. None of the operating was done by the adults. So it was all youth operators. Here they are filling out thank you cards. They did a GoFundMe page to raise enough money to fly to K3LR, and they did a tremendous job. Here's the team. Includes HA8RT, Tommy, Marty NN1C, and just a tremendous group of kids. They had forecasted that they would be a success if they worked 3,800 QSOs in the multi-2 category of the WPX phone contest. At the end, at 0 Zulu on Sunday night, they had put over 6,000 QSOs in the log. They were #1 in North America, #4 in the world. An incredible score, incredible kids, and we will do it again. This time on CW. They're all hotshot CW operators. Remember, none of these kids had to learn CW to get a license. They all learned it because they thought it was cool. And if you want to get kids involved in amateur radio, you show them something that's cool, and you get their friends to get their friends in ham radio. Kids are very attracted to this hobby. There's a window that opens up when they're young, and if you're there, you can get them involved, and it does work. Here's Michael, W3MLJ from Pittsburgh with his dad, operating in the Kilo 2 mic operation of 13 colonies, which is hosted here at K3LR every year. I have visitors that come here from all over the world. There's a visitor from Finland. And also here's Riley Hollingsworth, K4ZDH, and famous D-Expeditioner Hal, W8HC, coming to K3LR for a visit. Well, during contests, we keep track of all of our contest efforts, analytics, high water marks on 160, 80, 40, etc. in every contest back to 1992. And we do contribute to the reverse beacon network using CW Skimmer. This was version 1. This is version 2 with the Nooks. They've completely replaced those big rack computers. And here are the 6 SDR receivers that share the antennas here at K3LR. From Perseus is the SCR receivers. Lots of ferrite here at K3LR to keep the RFI down, and power distribution using linear power supplies. There are no wall warts, no iPhone chargers, nothing here. That leads to a very low noise floor at K3LR. We make coffee 1 cup at a time using Flavia, and you got to eat good. 12 or 13 operators over the course of a 48-hour contest can go through a lot of food. We have Chef Sal that takes care of feeding us and smoking meats. We eat well and we contest hard. And Chef Sal takes care of us. He's a great operator, but he comes to cook, not operate. And we have 2 different breakfast cooks. I am the one for CW. N2NC is the breakfast cook on the phone contests. And breakfasts are made to order. We use WinTest logging software written by French rocket scientists. This is an incredible package that is very robust and typically very bug-free. And this is what a logging screen looks like. You can see contacts are being made on 80 meters, 40 meters, 160 meters, and the time, signal reports, and also keeps track of our score. And boy, I can't wait to have scores like this on 10 meters again. 3,200 QSOs on 10 meters, 170 countries. 2025 can't happen soon enough. I'm a voracious QSLer. We send about 50 pounds a year to the ARRL QSL Bureau. And we do have a database so we don't double up on anybody. But if it's a new band country, you will get a QSL card from K3LR. I love t-shirts. We typically make a t-shirt for each one of the events. At the end of the contest, we compare scores with all of the other multi-stations on the real 3830 after the contest. So we typically know who's going to win. And sometimes we win a plaque. We've been also doing RTTY contests. This is what a crew looks like. I love this ham radio stuff. And so great friends all getting together. Sal brought his girlfriend, Liv, with him, and she was the sous chef that weekend. Another good crew, CQ Worldwide CW 2014, and some great operators, Justin from London, BE3RA from Toronto, N6MJ from Los Angeles, KL9A from Montana. So great crew. And another really good CW crew here, K1TO from Florida, K5GN from Houston, Texas, N6AN from Los Angeles, N6TV from San Francisco. So good, very good CW crew. And the real reason we do this is we're best friends. I've known some of these guys almost 50 years now, and we're very tight, and we work well together, and we have fun. Remember, these guys are paying for plane tickets. They're taking time away from their families. They're taking vacation time to come to this radio station, have fun, and have an opportunity to win. The K3LR station holds the USA record in 3 out of the 4 major DX contests. And we're doing it from Western Pennsylvania, which can give you a little bit of a disadvantage when we've got great operators. That sometimes can make the difference and pull out a win. One of the things I'm most proud of here is that I do tours. In fact, the tours here at K3LR are starting back up in a few weeks. This is the University of Pittsburgh Pitt Panther Club, the W3YI, and their faculty advisor, Juan NA0B, brought them up. And we spent a whole day at K3LR talking about antennas, talking about radios, getting on the radio, talking about studying hard in school, and then what happens after college. So it's always enjoyable. We have about 20 tours on a normal year here on a given year and during the weekend. So it is a lot of fun to host clubs and to talk about the best hobby in the world. So that is my presentation. And of course, I'm available here by Zoom for any questions you might have.
All right, thanks so much, Tim. That was a great presentation.
Tim, hi, it's Dennis, K3DS. I have to ask this question. Did you have any problem with zoning requirements or building permits to put up all those towers? Because when I put up my 40-footer, I had to show that I wasn't causing excess runoff on the side of the hill, polluting a creek.
No, actually, I'm in a rural township, and the zoning, I met all the zoning requirements and got building permits on everything I did here. And so I'm very fortunate. And I've tried to be a very good neighbor to my neighbors, and everything has worked out very well.
Thanks. Other questions?
Very informative. Thank you.
You're welcome, Alan. Thanks very much for having me.
Great presentation, Tim.
It was, yes.
So
now I'm wondering if my credit card will take care of a tower crew.
Jeremy, when are we going to have a MARC meeting out at K3LR?
Yeah.
You're welcome to bring the club out here anytime. We've had clubs drive 5 and 6 hours to get here on a Saturday, and so certainly you say the word and coordinate with Terry, Kate MNJ, who does my scheduling, and she'll get you in.
Thanks, Tim.
So I had a specific question. You said you had those lockout panels for, I think, the 15-meter station. Now, are there any cases where you're transmitting two stations on the same band? And if so, how do you prevent interference?
So no, there's no case. That lockout box absolutely keeps that from happening. So what happens is the run station always has priority because he's got a CQ frequency that he's got to maintain. So it's when the run station is not transmitting that the second station can go find stations, and two operators have to coordinate together. But the lockout box actually takes and forces the radio into transverter mode. And so when you do that, it transmits at about 50 milliwatts into a dummy load. And so that's how that lockout box works, and it's very smooth.
Okay, so there's no cases where two stations are on the same band at once.
No. And if you listen to recordings of us, you can hear that in action too, because sometimes, you know, the run guy might get nervous and cut off the second station guy because he's got priority.
I guess I have to ask this too. You guys don't use spotting? You don't use internet spotting or anything like that? Just tune up?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you would see on that logging screen, we are hooked to we hooked to 10 different clusters around the world. And so we are getting spots into an aggregator that we do get spots not only from clusters, but also from the reverse beacon network on CW. And then we have our own skimmers on site. So no, that's a big part of what we're doing here.
Tim, what were those devices that were on the wall that were part of the skimming network?
What are they? Those are Intel NUCs.
Intel what?
NUC, N-U-C.
Oh, okay.
If you Google Intel NUC, you'll see those computers come up. They are my favorite computer. They're so reliable, RFI quiet, inexpensive really too, and tremendous performance.
Thanks.
Great, thanks. Any other questions? We've also got a couple folks joining us on YouTube, so if they have any questions, they can type them in and I'll pass that along. So that 160 meter setup was interesting. So now the driven element, is it the tower itself or is there a wire within the tower?
No, it's the tower itself.
So you're just loading up the metal of the tower.
Yep.
And that's isolated from ground?
Yes. Yeah, that ceramic insulator is what isolates that from ground. And the feed point impedance is about 25 ohms. So I have an L network out there to step it up to 50 ohms.
And what about corona and arcing? You ever have any problems with misty weather or anything?
No, never have had that. You know, at 1500 watts, it would take some real things to go wrong, I think, to cause that. The SWR is very low on all these antennas. And so now if we were running more power than that, I could see where we might have trouble. But at 1500 watts, it's not been an issue.
Does anybody run around in the yard with 4-foot long fluorescent tubes then?
I've not seen that yet. There's you know, the neighbors have a burn pile and a compost pile on the property here. They walk their dogs on the property. There are no fences, you know, so it's wide open, but I haven't seen any fluorescent lighting going on.
It might be a good idea if you take a walk through the property just to make sure you're not walking near an antenna that's energized. If the light lights up, step away.
There you go.
Right, so for that 160, so you essentially have 4 selectable directions.
Yes.
You can do so one is the director by grounding it, and then one is the reflector by grounding it through an inductor.
Yes,
Then you could select any of the yellow or the blue pairs.
yes. And so
Do any
it's,
intermediates as well? Intermediate directions?
no, so it's 45 degrees, 135, 225, and 315. And that covers basically the world. 45 degrees is where all the money is in Europe. That's where, the majority of the QSOs are. 135 is into the Caribbean and South America. 225 is useful for going to New Zealand. And then 315 is up over the pole to Japan and to Australia.
I might have missed it, Tim, but did you do any modeling of the antennas before you threw them up or just crossed your fingers?
Oh, no. I'm a Penn State engineer. We don't cross our fingers. That's not a good strategy. I spent hours modeling. Remember, you're looking at 34 years worth of work here at K3LR. Just recently, I raised the tables from 27.5 inches up to 29.5 inches. And I had to actually tear down 7 stations to do that. And we're just in the process of putting the stations back together now. And I'm having to remember what I did 34 years ago.
Did you use something like NEC, Numerical Electromagnetics Code,
Yes.
the old thing from like 30 years ago? I tried running
yeah.
that. I tried running the original GWiz basic NEC program from Naval Ocean Systems Center on a Apple II at 1 megahertz. And I was trying to model a dipole, and I came back 8 hours later and it wasn't even done yet. But we
Yeah.
have better computers now, right?
We do have better computers. And fortunately, I started building this station in 1987. And I did have an IBM PC at that time that I could run NEC on. And Brian Beasley had actually wrote a great program called Yagi Optimizer, YO. And I used that in the 90s, and it was very, very helpful to me. But I needed to use NEC to make sure that the interactions were taken into account. There's a lot of antennas on multiple bands on these towers, and it's very, you can really screw things up if you don't pay attention to that. So they're all homebrew Yagis. They're in recent times, W8WWV has done all the design work here, and he is a very resourceful engineer and great antenna mind. And so we've collaborated on things, and these antennas, it's just spectacular. The pattern, the gain, and the VSWR bandwidth.
All right, thanks. Are there other questions?
Well, if you think about a question later on, you can always email me. You can email to k3lr@k3lr.com, or you can go to the k3lr.com website, and there's a button that says email K3LR there. On the k3lr.com website are also very interesting videos of contest operations. There's drone videos. They're shot, taking the drone up and going in through the antennas that W8WWV did. And so they're kind of fun to look at as well. And there's lots of great stories up there too about this unique amateur radio station. And of course, if you need stuff for your ham radio station, please give us a shot at DX Engineering. If you're not a customer, try us out. I think you'll be very surprised at the level of customer service that you'll get from us. If you have questions, you can call my team. I have a spectacular sales team of guys that are on the air. I mean, these guys are doing ARES, they're active in their clubs, they're doing field day, they're doing contests, they're doing DXing, they're doing VHF and DMR. And so we've got all the major areas of the hobby covered with specialists that can answer just about any question you can come up with and help you make good selections. And it's been tough during the last year to keep stuff in stock. It just, this hobby has exploded in popularity, and the supply chain has been interrupted with all sorts of problems, but we're doing our best to get stuff as quickly as we can. and get it shipped out. But you get your order in by 7 o'clock at night, it ships that night. And to Eastern PA, it's 1 or 2 days, and you're going to have your stuff. So it's a great operation. I used to be their best customer. 8 years ago, I went to work for DX Engineering, and they lost their best customer to now a leadership position. But I'm still right up there. But we do have some other amateur radio operators that have surpassed me, because as the as the customer service people over there, when I go to the store, that she says to me, "Don't you have everything already?"
Thanks. Yeah, I saw Donna put a note in the chat. Said when she bought her first antenna, someone from DX Engineering took a lot of time and helped out in getting her set up.
Well, I don't want to give you another hill to climb, Tim, but there's always VHF, UHF, SHF. You could start building that station anytime now.
Well, Dennis, a few years ago, I started collecting 8877 amplifiers for 6 meters, for 2 meters, and for 220. And I had that thought that I would have enough time to build a VHF, UHF station. There's so much to do here on HF, and I've got to focus if we want to do good there. But my hat's off to those that can do VHF, UHF, because that is a great frontier. And glad that Donna had a good experience. We love new hands, absolutely love them. And we will spend however much time it takes on the phone or on email to help Elmer and answer questions. New hands is what we're all about.
Wait, you were also mentioning the Pittsburgh ARC, what was the call sign, the University of Pittsburgh?
Yes, W3YI.
And we have W3YP here at Villanova University, and Jeremy is a physics professor at Villanova. Let's try to get them on the air.
Here we go.
Yeah, we're starting. COVID has made it a little more difficult in terms of getting set up, but we are active on satellites, but not HF yet.
And at the other end of the spectrum, I'll ask you to take a look at K3 Tango Uniform, K3 Temple University, because I'm the trustee of that station.
Very nice. Great to hear that the universities out there have ham clubs. It's tough to do. I got to tell you that K3CR at Penn State was a big problem for me. I couldn't stay away from it, and my grades suffered because of it. But it turned out okay in the end.
Well, thanks again, Tim. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So if there's nothing else, let's thank Tim for the presentation tonight.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, is there anything else for the good of the club? All right, so with that, I'll move to adjourn. Thank you for joining us this evening, and I hope to see you all again in April when Barry Fearman, K3EUI, will be our presenter.